Okay, so again, the last rule on your sheet is that a to the 1 over x is like an xth root. So I'm just going to do a couple examples in here. A square root is the same thing as x to the 1/2 power. A cubed root is the same thing as x to the 1/3 power. Do you guys know what a cubed root is? Okay. What is the square root of 16? Right. Does everybody understand that? 4 times 4 is 16, so the square root of 16 is 4. It's like the opposite of squaring something. Okay. What is the cubed root of 27? What times what makes 27? 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So it's kind of like this one is saying what goes into this twice, and this one is saying what goes into this 3 times. Does that make sense to you guys? So a third root is also the same thing as a 1/3 power. So if you go to your calculator right now, go grab a calculator. Go grab a calculator from the other side. The testing has all the ones on the left.
Stop, I hate that. I was just singing to that song.
That is a.
She is weird. She actually needs help.
I'm scared of water now.
No, I see that TikTok. They're like, don't be afraid of the sharks. Be afraid of her.
I'm afraid of JoJo.
Oh, she's coming out. She actually like.
She's
How
not
did she
okay.
grow her hair back? I'm so confused how they
All right, here we go.
How dead that hair is.
So I want you all to put in your calculator a square root. To do that, you hit, everybody look up now. Look up. Hit the second button on the top left, and then you hit the x squared button. It's like diagonal up from the 7. It's right here. It says x squared. It has like a little square root in blue behind it. That'll put a square root on your phone, or on your phone. Let's do one that we know. Square root of 64. What's the square root of 64? 8. Everybody okay with that? Now I want you to type in 64 and the caret symbol right here that's above the divide sign. And then I want you to put in a 1/2 power up there. 1 divided by 2. Do you see how a square root is the same thing as a 1/2 power? Same thing, if I wanted a third root, I could do like 27 to the power of 1/3. It's 3.
What's the slat?
Yeah.
It's the divide sign.
Oh.
I was trying to figure that out.
Okay. I think that I owe you one more trick. Broken thumb? Sorry, you guys saved a lame one for last. The broken thumb is something that I can do because I've got really loose thumb joints. Maybe you do too. But I can pull my thumb behind my hand.
Yeah.
And usually just a couple people can do it as well. So if you take your thumb like this, and then you pull it up like that, and then put it behind your joint like this. And if you're really flexible, you can also curl your hand at the same time like a fist.
Well, I got it a little bit.
Yeah, literally, I got it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
You can see it actually going out of joint right there.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, I'm double jointed.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't do that finger thing. All right. So let's go to examples.
We got in trouble for doing that in class.
Doing what, the finger thing?
This.
Really?
Yes.
Which class?
Hernandez.
Of course.
The only class we get in trouble. No, we were talking about milk, so she.
Yeah, they ran off.
That's probably why.
I'm sure he is hating all of the nonsense I do.
He is.
You guys.
He just hates our class in general. Every teacher does.
I don't hate you guys.
But we're better than 8th graders. Do you think we're bad? They're worse.
I don't think you're bad. Okay, let's talk about what goes into 72.
It's
What?
a decimal.
Am I on film?
Yes.
Shoot.
So, what goes into 72?
Nothing, that's a decimal.
No, not like a square root.
Oh!
I
I don't know.
No, I don't mean exactly like a square root. I just mean like anything that multiplies into it.
8, 9.
Yes, 8 and 9.
I don't.
Everybody write down 8 times 9.
7. I don't know.
What?
What? And to make 8, we could do 2 and 4. And to go into 9? 3 and 3. And to go into this 4.
2.
2 and 2. This is getting it down to the prime numbers. This is factoring it out. Okay. So now what we're doing, because it's a square root, we're gonna look for pairs. This is a pair of 2s, this is a pair of 3s, and then I have like an extra here. Okay, so then what that equals is these things on the outside, you put those numbers on the outside and multiply them together. And then you leave inside the square root anything that's an extra. So 2 times 3 is 6 times the square root of 2 is the same thing reduced as the square root of 72. So everybody try this right now. You can always check and see if you're right. You're going to hit second square root. Remember, the square root is diagonal to the 7. Type in the square root of 72. This is what Kaylin did earlier when she got 8.49. Okay? And now what you're going to do is you're also going to type in 6 times the square root of 2. See how they're the same thing? That's how you can tell that you did it right, because they end up being the exact same thing. This is just reduced so that later when you're in more upper level classes, then you can cancel things further and make math problems easier for yourself. We're just learning a tool right now that you end up using a lot in later classes. All right. Next, let's try this one. The square root of 343. Okay, now, anybody know off the top of their head something that goes into 343?
3.
Let's try it. Everybody in your calculator, 343 divided by 3.
Nope.
Nope.
7.
343 divided by 7. Nice.
Definitely sure that up.
7 times 49. Okay, and then what goes into 49?
7.
7 and 7. All right, so how do I write this now? I've got a pair of 7s, and then I've got 1 7 left over.
So you do 7 times 7. Oh, no.
So you only take one of these. You only take one of the thing that you're circling and put it on the outside.
Then 7. I'm trying.
And then this one is the leftover one. It makes sense, because if you think about something like, imagine if I had something like the square root of 16. What is the square root of 16? Nope. 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, right? Everybody with me? So if I broke it down, I'd have 4 and 4, which would be a pair of 4s. So my answer would just be 4. Because it's a pair. The whole point of the pair is that it's a square root. So a pair of 4s go into it, so my answer is 4. So if it was like, let's do this. How about if I had the square root of 36? 6 times 6, right? But instead of doing it that way, I'm going to look at this. Let's imagine that I did it this way. If I did 4 and 9, well, that's the square root of 4 times the square root of 9. What's the square root of 4? 2. And what's the square root of 9? 3. And 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? Or if I broke it down, I could say, ooh, I got a pair of 2s here, and I got a pair of 9s, or a pair of 3s here. 2 times 3 is 6. Or I could have said I had a pair of 6s and just called it right there and said the answer is 6. This is just how to reduce stuff.